All right.
I'm still here, guys.
Today is DACA Day.
Do you want me to deal with the real subject?
Well, we could. All right. We can. All right.
I'm so bored that I'll just go ahead and say it. I have issues with the issue of marital rape, and I'll tell you why. There are when marital rape first came up, it came up about 20 years ago.
Well, I looked it up on Wikipedia. The first case that was successful, that really got the national attention, was in '79. And by 1993, before '79, most every state in the union kind of didn't really legally believe in marital rape.
Okay.
But by 1993, every state in the union had made at least some form of sexual assault within marriage illegal.
Okay.
Some states still have weird remnants of former lax laws about that. I think Massachusetts, it's illegal to roofie somebody and then have sex with them while they're unconscious, unless you're married to them.
Okay. So, if it's your consenting spouse that's normally consenting, but you take advantage of them in that state specifically?
I think it's Massachusetts or one state where that's not illegal if you're married, which is weird, but
yeah,
it's a leftover sort of the pre-1979 laws, which kind of a lot of states said anything goes if you're married.
So anything goes for the man, essentially.
Well, I don't know that anything.
Or does it go reverse? I mean, does it account for a woman taking advantage of her husband? Or is it just a man taking advantage of his wife?
Oh, I assume the language can go either way. It's just that the cases of women raping men
are minimal compared to.
Well, they're not brought to court as often. But to clarify what Lance.
Well, let me clarify.
All right, you clarify.
Okay.
Because
okay. Shush. My point is this. The first famous case that I heard of was where Gloria Allred was trying to champion another feminist issue. And she actually found a woman that had just come back from a hysterectomy. And she begged her husband not to have sex with her. He had sex with her and put her in the hospital, and she almost died. And so what Gloria Allred does is she says, look, that is clearly should be against the law. And in a case that peculiar, I would agree. But my point is that I know a judge, and I've spoken with a judge about this kind of thing, and she told me it's the worst possible case for a judge to have to deal with, because it happens behind closed doors. You have no idea what the motivations are if somebody's lying, and it's just it's not in the words of the judge, but in my opinion, it's most of the time something that the people should work out with each other without going to court. And I think they should just get a divorce if it's that much of a problem. And one of the reasons is that you've got people that have been having sex for maybe years, and then one time the woman doesn't want to, or says in court that she didn't want to, and the guy can do 5 years in prison. And it just, to me, it's one of those things you just can't maybe it's one of those things that a court can't deal with. It's just some things in life you have to deal with between you and your husband.
Well, I gotta say that we are two old guys. And some of the things that we believe or that we grew up with, the degree of consent that is prudent in this era is much higher than we were ever taught in the 70s.
Yeah, that doesn't address what I just said, though.
Well, you're saying that there's you're implying that there's implied consent if you're married.
If you're married, it's kind of a given, but I mean, I've had experiences when I'm dating a guy and, they become forceful and you're just like, no, I'm not interested. And, I'm not even married to this person in general, but I mean, it is a consent thing. Like, even if you are together in a relationship, it still has to be okay, because sometimes, you're just not feeling up to it, or you have a medical case that's going on, or something along the lines, and you're just not interested. Just because you're with someone does not mean it gives you the right to sleep with them whenever you want. And I think that goes for both men and women. Sometimes men don't want to have sex with their significant others at a certain point, and I don't think it would be appropriate for the woman to force them to try to do it either.
Well, this is what got me in trouble last time. So I'm going to say it again. Okay. I made the point. Now, I'm going to have to preface this with some explanation first.
Which you kind of didn't last time.
Right. And this time I'm going to try and build up to it. I feel that if you're a man of the world and you've been with, say, more than 6 women in your life, eventually you're going to meet a woman that says, push me down and force me. You will come across that gal. And if you carry that out and that girl turns around and tries to sue you for rape, I don't think that's fair. And I know, I'm not done, I know that there are marriages where people have worked out their own way of getting their kicks. And I just don't think it's something that should wind up in court most of the time. It's too complicated.
I can agree with you on that. I mean, in a smaller case like that, I can actually agree with you, because especially if it is an incident like the fact that she does on occasion ask you to forcefully do it, and she did in that moment, not just in general she does, but at that point in time that she refers to, if she says, I want you to push me down and, take advantage of me. Uh-huh. Some women do enjoy that. And then if she goes afterwards and tries to claim a rape case, I think that's a little extensive. I think that is something that needs to be discussed between the two of them, and it needs to be said that, hey, you said this is what I did, I'm sorry I made you uncomfortable, but this is what you asked. And it's hugely about understanding it's consent. If you say one thing and do another, that's one thing. But if you say one thing and it happens, and then you try to go back on it, that's,
All right, here's what I got to say. That given the current way things are, it's prudent for everybody to be as clear as possible in a sexual or romantic encounter about what is permitted and what isn't, and that seems, more unfun than, perhaps things used to be. But I've looked at a bunch of studies of rape, and most studies say that false accusations of rape are run about the same rate as false accusations of other crimes. But when you look at a bazillion studies, they're all over the place because every study has a different definition of sexual assault, and they're looking at a different population, and it's tough to really pin stuff down. Except to say that in general, if somebody is gonna, that rape is one of the more underreported crimes, because it's brutal to accuse somebody of rape. So, false accusations are not a huge percentage. That being said, there are situations that are unfair to guys. That if you have a university that's acting as the local arbiters of who did wrong or didn't do wrong, and they have no experience of it, they don't bring the cops in. Universities can screw up, and they can screw over guys, though again statistically it's women who generally get screwed over more. But still, you have horrible cases of but injustice, but which again makes the point that even though it's not as much fun as just going for it, there should be clarity.